Where's he going?
He needs, an SD card, I think is what he just said. That one might have been full. At least he checked that now, because that's how we got screwed on the Geneva one. We ran out of space.
Oh, we ran out of space on the middle
on the middle of the episode.
On the SD card or whatever it is.
Oh, that got funny.
And then we redid the whole episode as if we hadn't done it. But then we kept making jokes about like, oh yeah, haven't heard this before. Like kind of like what you did last time, where you said like, oh, that's a great question, Tyler. But it was literally like we had already heard the answers, so then we were like prompting them. It was pretty funny. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 50 of the Slightly Serious Sign podcast. So that feels kind of crazy.
Did you change the theme 50. Yet?
No, we actually, Rick told me I was supposed to complain that Joe Morreale never submitted.
I'm going to write a theme for you.
Okay, thank you. So to my...
When?
We need a keyboard, I'm on it.
So
I just have to do it.
This is a little weird because on the...
Maybe we could collaborate on a theme.
We should get all of us in.
Hey, I can play the trumpet.
Why not? We'll get you in.
Oh, great. Yeah. It's gonna be a disaster.
I don't have a trumpet, but I can play it. I'll have to buy one.
We can rent one.
Can you get it on Amazon?
I'm sure they'll deliver it on Amazon. But it's funny because I just went to say to my right, but I'm on the other camera now. So now it's on the other camera over here. Joe Morreale is joining us again.
Thank you.
So if you didn't hear him already, he was on episode 18. We talked all about Roland and all that good stuff. But we actually have another guest, somebody from Wensco that we hadn't seen yet. I actually wasn't even convinced if he had been on or not once he said, hey, he wants to come on. So I wasn't sure if he'd been on or not yet, but apparently he hasn't been on. So I'll let someone else.
So I'll get to introduce. This is Mark Halwarda. He's our, what is your title?
Equipment sales manager.
Equipment sales manager. He was a little upset about putting the headphones on because it messes his hair up. And if you don't recognize him, it's because he doesn't have his blazer on that he normally wears.
The trademark
blazer.
Right.
Like this guy mows his lawn with a suit coat on. I guarantee it.
Well, it's a trademark.
Anyways, it is his trademark. He's always looking good. Rarely has jeans on. But this is Mark Halwarda. He's helps sell all the equipment. So him and Joe work side by side. That's why he's on here. And Mark, why don't you introduce yourself first? And tell us how you got started in the industry, about your family, all that stuff. And I got to go talk to Judy because she's impatiently looking at me from the outside.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for the warm welcome. And glad my suit coat isn't on actually right now. It's
slide a little closer to your mic.
Casual, good guy.
And you can slide it up too.
Absolutely. So again, I'm the equipment sales manager for Wensco. I have been in the industry now for the last 32 years.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. I've seen a lot of technology come and go, and it's exciting to be part of the Wensco team. I focus with all of our 11 sales guys and gals to make sure that we've got a great solution for our customers. I'm a pretty technical guy, so I like to come to some of the installs and offer my insight. And I do a lot of different things for the company. So I'm married, and I've got two great daughters, and I'm enjoying being here.
So where else did you work besides Wensco?
Yeah, my first job, actually, I worked here in Grand Rapids, and I did that for about 5 years. I worked for a screen printing supply company. That was the beginning days of Gerber had just gotten out. And for some of us old timers, there was things called like the Gerber 4B and the Sprint and Super Sprint. And then
those were revolutionary days, weren't they, Mark?
They had revolutionary prices too. Oh my goodness! And from there, my older brother had started Advantage Sign Supply with another partner, and I had a chance to relocate to Chicago, and I was there for 25 years with Advantage as an equipment specialist and selling. Back in those days, it was pretty heavy duty with Gerber, and then from there, the company was purchased by a competitor, and I had an opportunity to join the Wensco team, and here we are.
Coming up for episode 52, we're going to be doing a live Q&A. That's going to be 9 a.m. on February 17th, and we want you to submit your questions to podcast@wensco.com. And we'll answer all of your questions live, 9 a.m., February 17th. So we'll see you there. Yeah, so been around a little while. Joe, do you want to go through your brief recap again?
If we must.
Yeah.
So I'm hitting the 28-year mark as your regional sales manager here with Roland DGA and having a ball doing it. And a similar experience to Mark here. You know, I started out in the early 80s. We talked about this last time. I'm sure you remember, Tyler.
Yeah, the early 80s.
The early 80s, right before you were born. Selling Gerber equipment for a major dealer out in the West called Morreale Supply.
Yep.
Who's a great Roland dealer, by the way.
Yep. Know them as well.
And selling Gerber equipment. And that evolved into me working in different aspects of the industry. I worked for a vinyl converter at one point. I worked for Cadling Technology, the makers of Sign Lab, for many, many years, and then came here.
Yeah. Speaking of Cadling, we're still trying to get Kevin on. So can you just give him a nudge?
I'll give him a nudge.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give him a nudge.
We'll get him on. We said we'll have to subtitle the whole thing so that people will be able to understand
Right, through the Boston accent.
Boston accent, but
A Boston
we'll
English translator.
We'll get it done.
Right.
He didn't even hear the beginning of that conversation. He already knows who we're talking about. So that's kind of the
Kevin
best
Marshall?
part about it. Yeah, exactly.
We're going to come on with Joe and Kevin Marshall because they have the very best Christian boy story from Grand Rapids.
Yeah, they.
If you've never heard their Christian boy story from
Yeah,
Grand
we've had some war
Rapids,
stories together. Yeah. The time I spun out by Beltline at 1 a.m. during a snowfall. And then we did 360s on the I-96 there. Yeah.
Nice.
The funny part is they're talking and he's like, yeah, these two Christian boys stopped. And I said, how do you know they're Christian boys? Well, who else is going to stop? And you hear Kevin talk about it and he gets all fired up. It's awesome.
That's hilarious. So this episode, we wanted to talk about, there's some new stuff that's come out from Roland in the last by the time this comes out, month or so.
Well, let's be honest, Tyler. There's always new stuff coming out from
100%.
Roland. We're the innovators of the industry. Let's get real here.
24 months for sure. It's been consistent.
Always.
So what we wanted to talk about.
Chair won't go down.
The best part is I'm talking, so I know your camera's on for all of that.
Sorry. Can't get my chair down. Must have lost some weight or something. I need lunch.
So we want to talk about when is it time to upgrade to new equipment, or when is it time to purchase additional equipment is kind of the goal for this.
Okay.
So we'll kind of cover that question with all the other questions. So
Sure.
The first question I actually had is, so say you're a shop with just one printer, which is probably the majority of our customers, right? Is they have printer cutter or just one print and cut device, or maybe some smaller equipment with it, but a lot of them will just have one printer. When is it time for them to start looking at new equipment or to upgrade their existing equipment?
Very innovative question, Tyler. I'm glad you asked.
Thank you.
So, I mean, there certainly are times. I mean, like if your printer is frequently down, that might be a little signal from the heavens that it might be time for a new printer.
That's
right?
the same way of saying if your printer doesn't say Roland,
Just
get a new printer.
Yeah.
Need to
doesn't
have
say
the
Roland on the
nameplate
front.
on it, right?
Yeah, just get a new one.
But, if you're really seriously though, if you're frustrated with third-party service from you have a non-Roland printer, odds are you're probably pretty frustrated from a third-party service providers where, like, look at Wensco. Wensco is an authorized Roland service center, right? So somebody's down for the count. The Wensco team is going to be lickety-split on site as fast as they can get there in their schedule to get you up and running. So, and that's all you guys do. You're Roland experts, right? So that's a good time to think about it if you're frustrated with the type of support you're getting. When repair costs are equal or exceed your machine's value, that's a pretty good, indicator, right?
Yeah. When you have an older machine and you have print heads go out, a lot of times it's not worth it. And we don't say that because we don't want to do the service work, because we'll gladly do it for you. But usually that's like step one. It's kind of like a car where you get like an old car and the transmission goes out and you're like, in theory I could, but that's
Right.
just one.
There's a point.
It's one after another
Right.
after another at that point, right? And that's often what we see with printers. You get a print head that goes out, you put a new print head in, then the board goes out, you put a new board in, and you're like, at what point? Probably before the print head, I probably should have thought about new equipment. I think that happens more frequently than I think people get mad at us when we're like, we don't really want to service it. We'd rather upgrade you. And they're like, oh, you want to sell me? Be like, no.
It's less expensive in the long term. You want to play the long game. You're going to be better off.
Yeah.
Right.
And the reality is, we're going to make money either way. Like, we're going to make money selling the printer. We're going to make money fixing the printer. But we would much rather have you happy
Right.
with a new printer
Yes.
than like, okay, we just patched this for you. You just spent a few $1,000s patching something.
And not only that, but I mean, Wensco, I know you guys, you care about the long-term relationship with your client. This isn't about selling a widget and walking away. You're going to be in a relationship with this customer for potentially 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
So nobody's out to, push something on anybody.
Yeah. And you think about it when we were trying to push you to buy a new printer. If someone pulls the trigger and buys one, rarely is someone unhappy once they have the new printer up and running, but frequently they're unhappy when we service their machine. And then 2 weeks later they call us because we have to service it again. And we have to explain to them, this isn't even related to the first issue. So yes.
Well,
sorry,
and then
the
dovetail on a side note, a lot of times people start off with a, entry level model. Then they're getting to the point where they're running the machine 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And, if you have that kind of demand and your business is growing, that might be a clue that you need a faster printer.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's time for a new printer.
And you think about it too, these printers are their livelihood.
Right.
So I can't, for a lot of our customers, they really can't afford a lot of downtime. And the Roland printers, I mean, they've had a great reputation for lasting a long time, but you get to a certain point where there's just no parts, on some of these older machines. I look at also, you get customers that they can't hit deadlines because their printer is too slow. They need something.
They're turning away work or quoting, weeks long lead time when they can fulfill that customer's order immediately.
And the color gamut, the range is just incredible on these new printers with the new special colors that we offer with the orange and the red, the green. We can hit almost 99% of Pantone type colors. You can attract a lot of other customers that maybe you couldn't achieve before because you couldn't hit those type corporate colors. And that's what a lot of the new machines bring today.
Yeah, that's pretty standard across the board now too. So if you're trying to compete with another sign company, right, even if they don't have a Roland, a lot of these manufacturers have gone to this expanded color gamut. So
or try to.
Yeah, and if you're running on older equipment, you're going to be behind, especially on some of the ones we always talk about is like reds, orange, and greens, right? If there's anything in that print and they're getting it printed somewhere else, especially on newer equipment, it's just naturally going to look better than CMYK does. Now, I say that after seeing the printer that is covering the window right there and see the AP640 run and think, how in the world do we hit the colors on 4-colored? But I think that's just a different process. I think the old CMYK is different than the new version.
By the way, I saw that you wrapped one of your delivery trucks with output from the AP640 and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
The front cracked a little bit.
A little. Yeah. The vinyl cracked.
I talked to Avery about it and they said, deer are not an effective way to remove vinyl.
It said deer. Apparently, deer aren't covered in the Avery vinyl warranty.
The IPS warranty or whatever. Yeah,
we asked, and they said no. Yeah. That's not an
part of the deal.
issue.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's
I sent him a picture
issue.
with a warranty claim. Yeah.
They declined it.
He said next time try to use heat instead.
I said we only needed like 5 feet. I feel like they could have just honored it, just send us 5 feet. I need a sample roll. It'll be fine. But the colors coming out of it are incredible. Even on the green too, like we had green in that print too. And it's like compared to what we have, obviously with like the VG3, the way we set them up, the colors they're definitely close, but it's also I don't think it would be comparable to like an older version of CMYK. I think that's more new technology.
No, it's more of expanded gamut. But what a great bread and butter printer for $11,495 MSRP. You got a printer that's going to print over 100. I think it's like 117 square feet an hour. I think in standard mode, if I'm not mistaken. It's a rocket ship. It's reliable. People are loving it. Comes with a Roland warranty. And you don't have to change print heads every 2 to 4 sets of ink and spend $20,000 over 5 years to keep it running that, you would on brand H. So
everybody that we've showed that to and have bought so far just think it's such an industrial type printer.
100%.
It's not a plasticky, which one of our competitors offer, where there's just a lot of unreliability with print heads.
Brand H, right?
Yeah, brand H. Yeah, absolutely. I recently we have a customer that I did a bunch of. They sent me their color chart, and the swatches just were gorgeous. The range of colors that this thing can hit, and especially again,
the AP640.
Yeah, on the AP640. I'm very impressed. I think that is a absolute product for a lot of folks to take a look at, and you can easily have have in your fleet, you can have both EcoSolvent and you can have the latex version as well. So it's a nice fit for a lot of customers.
Yeah. We talked about this before. Like, I know which printer is what I would say is better, because when Tyler walks out here to print a bunch of stuff for the wrap class, what printer did Tyler go to? You know, so it's like, okay, he was printing a full wrap. What are you going to? He walks straight to the AP. And we're in the demo center here. He has lots of options.
100%. Yeah. And multiple brands.
And multiple brands, lots of options. And he went straight to the AP to print the wraps for our wrap class. So
yeah, the week before I printed the full wraps, we had like a few different things all at one time that we needed to print. So I was actually running I think I was running like 3 printers at one time. I didn't need that much production. I just wanted it all to be done while I was sitting in there. And the AP got done so much faster than all of them. I was like, well, I figured that out already. I'm not going to mess around with any of these other ones. For a print-only
solution, it's fantastic. 100%. It really is.
Yeah, it's if you want to cut, obviously, you'll have to pair it with a print and cut, or a cutter separately. But for print only, it's phenomenal. I think the colors are incredible. If you don't need to hit like a corporate color, I think it'll probably hit everything else.
I mean, it hit a sweet blue for ours.
100%.
Like it hit and I remember, I want to say the old days, like it was always like, if you go to the show, Roland always printed red because they could always hit good reds.
Yeah.
And then the brand other would always print like the green or blue because that's what their machine would hit. And you can tell like this is the same technology, like it hits, but it also hits the sweet reds.
Yeah.
So it hits both.
And this is kind of unrelated to that, but I had a job where they were looking for a color. We couldn't get a match in cut. So they were like, okay, we're going to have to print it. And they didn't have a device that could print the color. They tried everything they could. They're like, do you have anything that can print it? So we went through and tested everything, right? I just printed basically the swatches from 3 different machines, and the Roland's just out of the gate, just will hit the colors that you're looking for it to hit, versus some of the other machines. They'll hit them eventually if you play with them, but I don't want to have to mess with it.
It's like throwing a dart blindfolded. That's what I like to say.
Yeah, like you're going to have to play with it a
game
little.
Of darts blindfolded to see how, are you going to hit the bullseye or not? Right?
And just like consistently, that's what we typically find. And I think all the other ones can be dialed in. So this isn't to talk trash on any of them. All of them will print great colors. But I find if I'm just going to run in and print something really quick, I'm just going to print out of VersaWorks. Sure. It's going to make my life easier anyways. So, that's unrelated to kind of what we were talking about. But, so besides the AP640 that came out how long ago, roughly?
Oh, I think about 1.5 years ago.
Okay. So that's on, I don't even know if we said this, that's on the resin side, hence why we were talking about the other brands. So a lot of people are getting frustrated with service from that other brand. So if you're across the board, if you're dealing with service issue.
I mean, like Mark says here, that machine is your livelihood. So backing up that machine and keeping it alive is a really big consideration.
Yeah. So if you're having issues with service, that would be one reason I would look. If you're comfortable with latex/resin, that's a great starting point because it's going to be super familiar to you in terms of the ink, how it prints, how it outgasses, all that stuff. But from a brand where if you're in our area, we can service it for you.
So,
which is a lot easier.
We're here to talk about our new products, but that just goes to show you the passion for some of our 100%. Existing products, right? You love that AP640.
It's been great so far.
I don't love the fact that it blocks my windows. Like, this is ridiculous.
It's got wheels. We put wheels on it, and you can roll it where you want.
Can we make a shorter model? Like, can we lower that sucker about 1.5 feet?
Oh, no. Because this is also a tangent, but there is a brand that made one that was shorter. That looks awful. As someone with back issues, I can't imagine trying to load that machine. I think I would just die.
And I'm like one of the shortest guys ever, and I hover over that machine.
Anyways, that's unrelated. Sometimes it is too short though. That when you got a load of roll on there, I don't want it to be too short. But anyways, so 2 new machines came out. So the first one I want to talk about, if somebody has EcoSolvent, they're looking to add apparel specifically to their business. Can we talk about the new machine that came out?
Yeah, and first, let's just talk in general sense. I mean, there is a Nostradamus of the sign industry. His name's Domingo Tobar. He happens to work for you.
Yep.
But he made a prophetic quote in 2024. DTF is the future.
We almost put it in his office. That dude was
as it turns out, once again, the sage hit the target, because actually the ETF market's growing by 12% a year. So that's pretty significant growth. So we, had an entry level model that's been very popular called the BY20 versus Studio. It's kind of an entry level DTF type solution, which you can still do a lot. I mean, I could easily do 100 shirts, in an hour, maybe, But if somebody wants a production oriented machine, we've been, the Roland R&D has been in their dark room in the back doing their secret stuff that they do. And they came out with an incredible solution. It's called the TY300. So we have this machine, it's $19,995. It's a high production DTF solution, but it's more than that because it's more than a printer. You really need to have a shaker dryer that's mated with that machine. So, a lot of we talked about this last time, you weren't here, but with these guys, the DTF industry is kind of fickle because really a lot of these companies just got these Chinese printers, put no name, they're no name printers, and they put their badge number or their badge name and brand on it. And there's nobody backing these machines up, and these companies come and go. And there's a lot of, uncertainty that comes with buying DTF equipment
100%.
because of the bad reputation that happened with all these Chinese printers.
Yep.
This is a machine made by Roland specifically for this application. It's not jerry-rigged, like these Chinese printers. So, and then we also developed a shaker dryer unit that goes with it. It's called the Grando Shaker Dryer. And they made a machine that's tailor-made for the TY300. And I'm pretty impressed with it. I mean, this machine's all inclusive. It has the shaker mechanism, dryer with a conveyor belt, and even the air extraction all built in. And that unit by itself with or tied in with the TY300 is a solution for $25,000. I think it's $25,995. I'm sorry.
That's the machine and the shaker and the
shaker dryer. Yes. Nice. And it's made specifically for our machine. All the settings are dialed in for all of our print modes. It's all made to line up. It even cosmetically even looks like our machine, and we support it with our warranty.
Nice.
So how does
Mark, have you sold any yet?
We're getting pretty close.
Yeah, that's a sales rep talk right there.
Of course.
We got opportunities.
To pile on with what Joe was saying, we had a conversation with a customer this morning that's very interested in buying the package. And he had a question to us, and he was very concerned about, he said, I hear a lot of these machines, you have to replace the machine or the print heads almost yearly. And we kind of went back to him again. That is not a matched component system. That is one manufacturer with another piece of software, and
it's a Frankenstein machine.
A Frankenstein and a huge risk. And I think that's what's so impressive about this new TY300 system.
It's our printer technology. We developed for it. We made it. Everything's component based. We developed an ink chemistry that's mated for that printer and this application. We have a special powder formulation. We have, of course, the VersaWork RIP, which is always that great value added with any Roland printer that we always forget to talk about, but it's a big deal. That shaker dryer air extraction unit it's a special version just adapted for our unit, our TY300 unit. All the settings are tweaked for all the Roland print modes, perfect alignment. It's a synergy of all of this component-based solution. So everything's plug and play. Everything's been tested. Everything's been vetted. We even vetted this solution in Asia for about 6 months before we brought it to North America and Europe. We're ready for prime time.
So I think what you're saying, what we're going to end up running into, and I'm sure some of you guys that are listening are familiar with this, is DTF's been out a little while now, at least a few years, and the initial solutions were pretty bad. This is the same that happened with DTG at the beginning, where it was so bad that everyone's like, I'm never doing it again. So what we're kind of trying to point out is this is different than what you've seen before, right? So that's what we're going to run into, is people being like, yeah, I tried it and it was horrible. It's like, no, hold on. A lot of the initial ones that came out were basically
hobbled together systems.
Yeah, they're basically die sub machines that had been modified to print DTF, and then they bungee strapped a dryer shaker system onto the end of them and called it a machine. And where they had issues was the white didn't go through, and it was like, yeah, it was never set up to let this ink go through. It worked as long as you kept running the ink through it, but at some point it was going to run to issues. now there's a whole system with
it's
ink
engineered
formulated
for this,
for that specific head.
component-based chemistry. It's the right solution.
Yeah. So if you've used it before, it may not be the same. So how does that
great innovative features? Like, we take advantage of the fact that we're the king of print and cut, right? So we put a blade holder in there anyway, even though you're normally not going to cut it, but we want you to be able to do perf cuts. So in between each of those appliques, instead of manually snipping them off after you're done, it's got a perf cut ready to go. So you can just pull them apart. Nobody else is doing that.
It's a huge labor savings.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Roland innovation once again.
Does it do it during the print or after the print has to pull it back? Has to do it during the print.
No,
right?
during the print.
During
It'll do the print, perf cut, print, perf cut, and so forth.
And you can do that however you want to set it up, but probably job based is probably how most people are going to set that up.
Yeah, you're going to do 100 appliques. You're just going to set them out.
Makes sense.
And it says Epson industrial print heads on board. So this is a robust machine.
So if somebody is in the market and they're looking at, now there's probably 2 maybe main names in DTF that I think people are relatively familiar with.
Brand M and us.
Yeah. Yep. And then maybe one other one. Excuse me. One other one that has at least stuck around for a few years, at least that we continue to see at the shows. But how does this kind of compare to those solutions, as well as if you're familiar, like kind of price wise, where does it land as well?
Your cost per square foot's really low. We really went aggressive with our pricing of our ink.
Okay. And
this is, we formulated this ink, but we wanted to be really cost competitive, super fast. We're putting at 117 square feet an hour in production mode with CMYK and white. And brand M, one advantage we have over brand M, which is really the only name brand solution out there. We have an automatic shutoff procedure. So at night, the machine doesn't have to keep purging. It's going to save you a lot of money in ink.
Makes sense. So, yeah. And I think, and the same with theirs, what we talked about earlier is kind of the same thing. A lot of these systems are printers, and then the shaker is just an add-on.
Yeah, you
right?
go to they'll say go to that manufacturer for your support, where Roland's going to support you even with the shaker.
Correct. Yeah. So the warranty is completely separate on those 2 units versus
for the other brand,
but
versus we have an umbrella warranty.
Correct. So yeah, hopefully it gives you an idea if you're in the market for apparel. The only thing I wanted to ask, because obviously if you guys are getting into this space, we got a phone call again. At least it wasn't you this time.
I was getting text from Judy out there, and I didn't realize I was getting text. Well, that's why I had to go out there.
Yelling at you. That's funny. How does this compare? Like, so someone's looking and they're in the market to start doing apparel, right? So I won't even talk about screen print just because of how much equipment is required to do that. But if someone's in the market and they're looking, if they're trying to lean DTG or they're looking at DTF, kind of where do you think the benefit is for Roland on the DTF side of things?
Well, as the Sage rightly said, it is migrating over to DTF, right? People want that soft feel. And I don't want to speak out of school, but it does seem like everything's trending where there's a conversion going on where that's where everybody's gravitating to, because it literally is even a softer feel than screen printing. Really. I mean, if you felt this stuff, right? Yeah. It feels like it's part of the fabric, and that appeals to people.
Yeah. On our side where we see it, obviously we could sell either of them. And I would say speed wise, they're not even in the same ballpark.
Right.
I mean, I love the DTG process, but you're talking 4 minutes a shirt on a good day. So in an hour, how many are you doing versus DTF? You're probably doing, like you said, 100 is easy, right? If you have enough if you have enough heat presses, yeah, no problem at all. You'll cruise through.
And there's a lot of margin to be made. We do this little thing called do the math, right? Where we kind of talk about real life applications. Like we have one here where we talk about where, let's say you're doing an athletic set. This is a real common thing where you want to have, something for, a jersey, a shirt, a cap, and a bag. And you maybe print a bunch of these appliques together for that application. It takes you about a minute to print. Your material cost is maybe 80 cents. Your cost of your inks maybe 95 cents. Cost of the blanks are about $20. So basically the cost to produce that athletic set's $21.75. Let's say you just charged $100, which I think is not even real. It's more like $200, but let's just say you charged $100 to the customer. You figure if you did 60, athletic sets an hour, you're going to make $4,695 an hour. There's a profit margin here. big profit margin. And then just, the opportunities with it. Think about it. It's more than just something like team uniforms or anything like that. I mean, there's athleisure wear. That's kind of the new thing, right?
What is that?
Athleisure wear.
What's athleisure wear?
Like you're decorating your yoga pants when you go to your yoga class on Thursday nights.
Do they work on the Lululemons too? That's
it does, and on hoodies and other casual active wear.
I usually have Lululemon's bottom and Vineyard Vines top when I'm working out.
Yeah, when you do it at your yoga class on Thursday nights.
Hot yoga.
Your hot yoga, right. And your streetwear, promotional apparel, T-shirts, polos, jackets, giveaways, employees' uniforms, event merchandise. Let's say, conferences, trade shows, company-sponsored events, or, your local rock band. They want to have T-shirts, right? They want to sell. You want to sell. You want to sell swag outside the gig, right? Well, that's I know some people. That's all they do is just deal with bands,
swag,
with hoodies and memorabilia and T-shirts and fan gear.
Mark, do you have any Motley Crue shirts?
Gosh,
I know the answer to that.
I think I gave them all away.
So the point is, it's a big opportunity. I mean, it is growing 12% year to year. So there's a whole world where people just zero in on just one little segment of that.
When you look at DTF, you have so much flexibility. With DTG, you're always transferring it onto the garment.
Yep.
Where the DTF, I can ship it to a retailer. I can ship it to one of my other customers. I've got a ton of flexibility.
That's a good point.
And you mess up the shirt direct to garment, it's gone. You mess up a DTF print before you transfer, I'll just do another one. Especially the hand and the feel. And Joe, just even the washes now over 50 plus?
Easily 50.
And that
conservatively.
That easily rivals DTG durability as well.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so if you're using a Chinese label printer, Tyler, and you want reliability, what do you need to do? You need to pull it out to the dumpster, right?
Yes.
You need to put it in the dumpster, and you need to call 616-785-3333 for
it's a great ad.
a demo on the TY300 Roland DTF solution.
Wait, can I get a jingle?
Can you clip that,
let's talk about the jingle. I saw your Christmas videos.
Yeah, you like that.
I had a criticism. I wrote you an email. I have a criticism. You need to call me. You don't have a call to action. You need to have the 800 number when you say call Wensco, and then your jingle. What is that jingle? I mean, Rick, was that you?
Listen, it's AI generated.
I could do better. What was the jingle?
It was
Wensco Sign Supply or something like that. What was it?
Yeah.
Sing it for me.
I don't even remember it.
You remember it, Rick?
Deals and so much more.
I can do better than this. I can do this for you.
You gotta put that phone number in there.
I'm going to write new jingles for you, and I'm going to come up with a new theme song, and I will get it recorded, and I swear to God, by June, it'll happen.
You have no idea how happy I am that someone just mentioned the jingle in the first place, because I laughed.
Well, I like writing songs and stuff, right? So I noticed that's the jingle. What the heck is that?
The first time we sat and listened to it, though, it was hilarious because you don't expect it either, and all of a sudden it's like, how do we get a jingle?
What was it again? Sing it again, Rick.
Christmas deals and so much more. Wensco Sign
Supply. Yeah. So
it was awesome.
So it was AI generated, and to get them to do the elongated Wensco, you had to put in a certain amount of S's. If you put in too many, they drew it out too long. If you put in too few, they didn't draw it out at all. So it was bit of a learning
I'm writing
curve.
your jingle. I'm telling you, by June it's done.
And then the second problem we had with the jingle was that whenever you started putting in like Wensco.com or the phone number, AI could not, for the life of them, figure out how to read that as like a normal thing. They would just like read all of the numbers in the song. So they're getting there, but it was a little rough.
You could throw away the AI. I'm on it.
We should play you all the other ones because there was some other relatively decent ones.
I'm going to come up with 3 candidates for you soon.
We had an alt rock version of the Christmas jingle that I thought was good. They said they liked the other one better, so we never used it, but I still have it. So maybe we'll use it next year.
It has to be what, Rick, 30 seconds or less? Or what do we?
Keep it short.
It's like 10.
10-second jingle, right? I can do that.
10 seconds.
I can do that.
So if we get a new jingle.
If you can front load it with all the info, and then you can have like a...
Rick, you don't have a microphone. We're on a podcast here.
He said, if
we'll
you
talk
can
offline, but I'm serious. I'm serious. We're going to do this.
interpret it for him.
He's a producer. He should know better than this.
Yeah.
What happened, Rick?
Just do sign language.
Sign language?
Yeah, he's talking. He said, okay, hold on. There's just big gaps. That's what I was joking about, like with sign language. Like for everyone else that's up there, also for the people listening to them, if they started making it up, nobody knows.
Well,
the people that don't know sign language have no idea that the person's making it up, and the person that is watching the person do sign language has no idea that they didn't.
Have you seen the comedians that start talking like they have a sign language person and they keep talking in sentences that don't make sense at all? So just to like, you're like,
And then they watch
the cat dog ran forward, Jeep, Wrangler, tree, top, McDonald's, Big Mac, and then like they're trying to sign. They're like, what is this guy doing up here?
So yeah, we'll appreciate the jingle. We this does have a few weeks where this comes out. So if you go fast enough, you can have a jingle in this episode.
Well, I've been kind of busy. I'm going to give myself. I'm going to pad it and say June, but we'll see what happens.
Wait, I want my trumpet in the theme song though.
So, well, when he gets
write a trumpet side of that.
I'll leave a little opening for you.
Okay.
It's actually just one note, just burr at the end. That's how it ends. Not even on key either. Just one random trumpet noise at the end.
F sharp. Okay.
It'll work. We'll make it work.
Now, I know this TY300 is exciting, but
we're more excited about the other one.
We came out with something else too, the XP640. So this is a high-speed EcoSolvent printer that rivals our old Pro Series. Remember our old Pro Series? We have a lot of Roland Nation users 100%. Out there that love the old Pro Series. This would be the logical successor product. So I'm pretty excited about that. So that's $20,995, and it's a super high-speed printer. We're printing in standard mode, 163 square feet an hour.
With beautiful color.
That's standard mode.
That was a good add-on, Mark. You sounded really nice.
I try.
He's got a good radio voice.
He definitely
he does. He does.
He's got the face for radio too.
It's a video.
Oh, it's video. Oh, whoops. Yeah, he doesn't have his blazer on though. I'm still like I can't see him as Mark.
Mike can barely recognize.
That's why he's not pushing so hard for sales. He's in a casual mode right now.
Oh,
if he had his blazer on,
he's in sales mode.
We'd be trying to close him over the podcast.
He'd be closing us.
Yeah.
We got 4 of them by the time we leave here. What in the world?
Yeah, you see him put that coat on, get out of the, like he's gonna sell you something. He may have to walk home, but he'll sell you his car.
Hey, what are we gonna do? So, if you have a Roland and it's any of the the older stainless steel looking ones, is really where those all fit in. Those were the Pro Series ones, and this is kind of coming into one that people have asked for because we haven't made one in a while. That's going to kind of replace
high production model. It's pretty incredible. They have 2. Here's not to geek out on you with inkjet, but normally if you have staggered heads, it's hard to get a mirrored array to happen. It's either you have heads in line, which gives up speed, but you can have a mirrored array, or you can stagger the heads and you don't get the mirrored array.
What's a mirrored array?
Mirrored array is when you're laying down ink in the same order when you're going right to left versus left to right. So you're printing bidirectional. It's laying down, for the sake of example, CMYK, KMYC on the way back. So it's always the same order in both directions. They figured out a way to do a mirrored array and stagger the heads. So it's tricked out for speed. It really is.
And this one has a new head compared to the previous ones.
Epson industrial print heads, and the cost per square foot with the way we've done this works out to be about 10 cents a square foot,
which beats pretty much all the other ones.
It's we even thought of ways to save ink, like if another high speed printer, brand E,
could be anybody.
Brand E, they waste a lot of ink when it with ink consumption during cleaning. So when it cleans, it dumps a lot of ink. We actually use 5 times less ink than brand E, which will save you about $240 savings in ink alone a month. So for disclaimer, if you happen to see our website and you saw this new ink on our website and we had the wrong price, it's because we're stupid. Is that the best way to say it?
We might have messed it up.
We may have messed up. So we have the new ink formulation. It's called the TH ink. It's $89.99 for a 500 milliliter cartridge, which works out to be 10 cents a square foot when you output.
We were trying to make a lot of money.
Yeah, we had mistakenly apologize to everybody that looked. We put $89.99 as our cost in the computer instead of that's the selling price, and we re-engineered it backwards. So we were trying to overcharge people. Nobody bought them.
What's actually funny is it was almost the same price as the other ink cartridges. So honestly, it just looked the same when you went in there. I was like,
we fixed it. Still beginning of the year.
Yeah, no problem. I mean,
it's new ink. It gets us every time.
When we talk about this brand E, I know in my prior life, I sold quite a few of those brand E machines, and I'm thinking a lot of those customers might want to take a look at the Roland now.
Yeah. I mean, you have to talk about those printers that you're talking about that you sold have been out there for a long time, a lot longer than I think people realize they've been out there for. And it's still their flagship.
You talk about the old, what are you talking about?
Brand E.
Brand E,
yeah,
right.
It's been around. Those machines have been around a while.
The same with the XR. The XR machine is like, there is shops that live and die by their XR. Like,
well, they don't want to let go of them.
Like we got a new one.
This is the one you need to, if you've been holding out and you have an XC540 or an XR640 Roland printer cutter, and you just want to have a fast printer that's reliable, this is the model to come and look at. Now's the time. This is the moment you've been waiting for, Roland Nation.
Yeah, I agree. Like the guy, he's on the next episode, right? But we already recorded it, correct?
Yeah.
He's on the next episode, but we already recorded it. He has 3 XRs, and he's like, I want this machine. Like, and he hasn't moved from the XRs for how long has the XR's been out there?
Now's the time.
So he's ready to move. And like I said, he does his research. Trust me. We got to hear all about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was funny because I sent him hey, there's a new printer out. And then he called me the next day. He said, you know how many people sent me, hey, there's a new printer out?
Yeah, because you've been crying about it for...
I said, yeah, you were on every single person's radar because you said the same thing. So anyways, yeah, we're looking at new printers. So XP640, right? So 64-inch
yes.
print only.
Print only.
Only 640 too?
Does it show?
So one size, 64-inch, rocket fast at 163 square feet an hour in standard mode. Totally economical at 10 cents a square foot. You're going to make some money with this printer. Oh, did I mention it includes red, orange, and green ink as part of the ink set? I mean, as Mark alluded to, I mean, it's getting to the point where, I mean, it's just 99. I don't know what the Pantone reference, is, but it's got to be over 99% of Pantone colors. Yeah, but I'm not going to make that claim because I haven't tested it. But
so can you get it with all 3 of those now?
Yes.
Okay.
With all 3 of those colors, you're going to hit those speeds, and that's what your cost per square foot is going to be.
Joe, is it too late to tell the customers 15 cents a square foot, and we could just make a little more on ink?
Too late.
It's too late.
Sorry.
I just thought I'd ask.
Cat's out of the bag, Mike.
This is like what we talked. We just changed next week's episode. You're going to hear us make a joke about our favorite customers are ones that mess up printing jobs because then they have to buy more vinyl. That was the joke.
We want to give them trophies like at Horvath's place. This employee of the month for Wensco because he screwed up the most jobs.
We said we're going to let customers submit when people mess up jobs real bad, so we can hand out a monthly employee of the month award to the one who messes up the jobs the most. But
there you go.
That's what we're talking about with ink. The ink cost is getting so good.
Yeah,
it's actually more beneficial for it to get expensive. So good for you guys. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Customer wins. Dang customers.
Customer wins as usual.
Yeah. So every time.
Well, at least when they buy a Roland.
True.
And of course, this includes the Roland RIP as always, which is a robust RIP. You can support 4 Roland devices. So if this is your first printer with us, you can grow with us and not have to invest in another RIP, paying a licensing fee. Because a Roland RIP will support 4 Roland devices.
So, since I know some of the Roland people will listen because you'll be on this episode, I'll put it in here.
Okay.
Can we get a version of VersaWorks that does more than 4? Because in the demo room here,
I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but that R&D department at Roland is working on all kinds of good.
That sounds good.
There's so many things I wish I could tell you, but I've been sworn to secrecy.
Because if you walk out here right now,
this is the year VersaWorks is going to burst with new features. So.
Yeah, because if you walk out there right now, there's more than 4. It gets real annoying having to hit on the 5th one.
Plug and unplug.
You just delete it and add it, and then delete it and add it.
Maybe we're going to get to this though, but why does it have it still has a cut carriage, right?
What do you mean?
It has a sheet cut.
It's a sheet cut, or is it a perf cut? Does it perf cut?
It has a sheet cut. It won't perf cut.
The XP doesn't.
It will sheet cut, but it'll sheet cut. Oh, actually, we do have the perf cut because the sheet cut has a perf cut function now. That's right.
But that's another carriage.
There's so many.
There's no print carriage. There's no. The picture had a. Maybe it didn't.
No,
I could be wrong. It did have a cut carriage.
Yeah, there's not one there.
You should be able to perf cut between jobs.
Perf cut between jobs, just one direction.
Right.
Yeah, and it does it with the sheet cut blade.
Oh, okay. That's
real fast.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
and it works actually super well. That one obviously has it, so that's how I can tell you know it works well. Because if you click the wrong button, sometimes
even the AP 640 has that, right?
Because when you click the wrong button and you don't realize that it perf cut, and you're like, "Are you serious? That thing didn't cut?" And then just realize it's just perf cut. You just gotta pull it. Works fine.
As usual with Roland printers and our technology, there's so many feature creatures we don't even talk about, but that's a big one. You know, perf cutting between jobs is part of the deal.
Yeah, so that's a good idea.
Yeah, sheet cut is huge because the other brand we talked about earlier, same thing.
Brand E doesn't.
They got a slot in their machine that I've probably cut the machine a dozen times doing it that way.
That and
I'm in the slot.
I've lost a bunch of knives too.
Well, yeah, because you're supposed to you do it by hand, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
yeah, and then you can't find your
fancy knife though.
They do. Yeah,
yeah. Until
that's gone, and then I just use a regular X-Acto blade the rest of the time.
Yeah, until they lose it, then they walk in this office since it's sitting right there, and they go in my drawer, and the next thing you know, I'm like, I need a knife, and
it's gone.
14 of them in the tech room.
So the only thing I want to add, guys, is besides the fantastic hardware, the speed, the color, fantastic VersaWork rip that is not just to get me over rip, lots of features. You now don't have to rely on a third-party company to come in and fix it. And I think a lot of our viewers have had printers like that, and it's fine in the first year or two when not a lot of stuff goes wrong. But that's the beauty of working with the Roland and with Wensco is that we fully service and support what we sell. I mean, that was one of the reasons I wanted to work for Wensco and sell the Roland brand is I wanted to have that control, and it's a huge benefit for our customers.
Yeah, the thing you have to realize, and this is kind of giving some of our competitors kind of a bailout here, is that you can be mad at them, but they don't. A lot of them don't have control on service at all.
Yeah, they sub it out to third parties.
Granted, they should probably be pushing a little harder to help you, but they're not touching it at all, right? It's just like, hey, let me send an email that says, hey, this guy's down. Can you guys get out there? And they're like, yeah, we're 4 weeks out. Like, sweet. What's the guy going to do if he's down for 4 weeks? That's not an option.
Right.
Versus Roland it's a lot easier. Like we talked about it before in terms of our order of, what do you call it? Order of service? Preference. So obviously Roland, it's basically Roland in warranty. Can you go through it?
Yeah. Okay. So obviously we get a lot of service calls. If we get backed up, it's warranty service or equipment that's in warranty priority. That's down. Installs out of warranty, and then crap you didn't buy from us.
So what we're saying is if you have a Roland in warranty, because that's actually it.
Yes.
That's the only options there. Roland in warranty that goes down, you will bump installs.
Yes.
You'll be in a priority
You're
list.
a priority. You bump installs. We will bump installs, and then we'll do installs, and then if your third in line is if you're down but you're out of warranty.
But you bought it from us.
But you bought from us.
Yes.
Then if you didn't buy it from us,
then you're in the fourth level, which is hit the bricks, get out of here.
Yeah. And there's usually a rougher price too sometimes.
And but also that fourth tier is sometimes that, right? It's sometimes like we're not going to get to, right? You're going to consistently get bumped down. Maybe you're going to get lucky at a time of year where we're not busy, but I haven't seen the techs in the office in 8 months, I think. So that gives you an idea.
We are struggling right this week.
Yeah.
We had our CRM is down right now, and their schedule, their entire schedule is in the CRM.
Oh,
they
nice.
can't see their entire schedule right now for the last 2 days. So they're trying to book stuff out. They don't know if they're already booked. Some of them can remember their schedules, but if you know a tech guy, he don't know what's going on tomorrow. He walks in, looks at CRM. Okay, that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
Hopefully your CRM will be up and running before long.
We'll get caught up. So they'll call us if we missed them.
Yeah. No, it'll be fixed soon. I think
we'll be back up and running.
A little cautious.
But no, we take a lot of pride in getting there as fast as we can, if not helping you on the phone.
Sure.
And
for sure.
Kevin takes a lot of heat. He was here early. We should have had him on too. He takes a lot of heat from me when we don't get to people. Like, so what?
I said 6 mics.
Yeah.
We're getting 6 mics. We're getting
So-
Domingo and Kevin in here next time.
But that fourth level customer that's not a customer is always welcome here. And we want to develop a relationship and help you guys.
100%.
And we can look at trade-ins. We can look at all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah, I should clarify. If you're buying a lot from us or you're buying stuff from us, we'll
Yeah.
get to you relatively
100%.
quick. But if you're literally like, I buy everything from this other company,
But the only time they hear,
the only time we hear from
is
when they
an
need
SOS
is when they
call,
need
right?
service.
Yeah.
You know, we'll put some stuff out there like, hey, look,
Yeah.
you really got to buy. Oh, I'll buy from you if you'll do this service. I'm like, how about you buy from me, then I'll do your service.
let's have a partnership.
So it's got to be. But there's not that many in our area, though. I mean, there's very few people in our area that bought, especially your equipment from somebody else, that don't know that other deal. Because for the most part, Roland signs up good dealers. I mean, we have other good dealers right in our area
100%. Yeah.
that do a good job of service.
Yeah.
So
And we only had to implement that not that long ago because we had another one of our competitors referring service to us. Like, yeah, if you need service, just call Wensco. We don't do it for you. And we're like, that's not how this works. We're not just
Right.
going to service your machines and you keep buying from them.
Right.
So we're like, hey, we're going to have to put some policies in place. This is like, no, we won't. We have a rule against this.
yeah,
So
we can say it was a Graphtech machine that the guy bought from our competitor, and he's down. I'm like, well, like you bought it from them, call them. Well, they told me to call you. Well, why did you buy it from them? Well, they were $200 cheaper. I said, tell you what, I'll rent you a machine for $200 and then I'll fix yours. And at that point he stopped, like, okay, I got my $200 and he might listen, he might not listen, but he knew. I said, look, you should have bought it from us.
yeah, we're willing to help, but it's a partnership, like the
Right.
same as ours is, right? It's Wensco and Roland working together, and it's Wensco and our customers working together, right? It's not like, hey, let's see how much I can get out of Wensco, and then I'm going to keep buying elsewhere. We want to help you, but it works both ways, right? We can't just.
And we just did budgets too. And I look at the budget that we budgeted just for training. Like we spend a lot of money training these guys.
100%. Yeah.
So, and Roland spends a lot of money training us too, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And with service, I mean, we've talked about this forever. Like service is not a profit center, right? We want to sell you machines that we know will keep you up and running, because the more you print and install, the more money we make.
That's part of the relationship.
The machine is just part of that puzzle. It's not like we're out here to sell machine. We're like, hey, we want to make sure this worked for you. We talked about this earlier with the AP, where I was like,
Right.
you want to make sure that you get the right machine, and if you have a machine that's too old, we want to get you into a new one, because what we don't want to do is ruin the relationship by sending a guy out to service it 6 times, because nothing makes you more mad than when we have to service it 3-4 times. And when we tell you this is just going to keep happening, it's not because we want to sell you a new machine. It's because we've seen this happen, right? It's like, hey, we know, we've been doing this a while. This is what's going to happen. So,
and we didn't talk enough about Mark too. We brought Mark on to make sure you don't buy a machine that you don't want to, or to help you with the total solution.
Yeah.
Like you have a equipment guy to help you with, like, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. Okay, you really need this piece and this piece, and someone else is coming. Oh, you just need this. Well, no, you kind of need this or this. So
yeah. And we talked about, you said,
So
you
it's like
talked about
consultative
earlier.
selling. It's really
Yes.
consultative
Yes.
selling, right?
So you talked earlier about Roland's always coming out with new stuff right now. So now in 2025, if you wanted to buy a Roland, you have, in terms of new equipment, you have 9-10 options right now.
Our
out there.
product portfolio is just insane.
Yeah.
We're hitting every little pocket of our customers' needs, and there's more products that come that I can't even tell you about in
Yeah.
the coming months.
nobody listen to this, Joe. Just say it. Who's going to listen?
This is what we made the joke yesterday. After 60 minutes, it's just for free for all. Nobody
It's
made
a
it
free
this
for
far
all.
anyway.
Nobody listens
But,
this far.
But no, like, so when someone calls in and they think, they want a UV printer, right? They've been seeing it. They saw it on
It
TikTok and
happens so
YouTube
often.
Shorts.
Somebody thinks they want something. It's like, what are you trying to do? It's like,
Yeah.
you're thinking about this all wrong. You really need to go this other direction to achieve your goal.
Yeah, and
right?
you can do 90% of the things you just told me about, but if that 10% is important to you, it's not possible with that option. And there's going to be a solution, right, for what they're trying to do.
What I find interesting is when you have a novice customer, which you kind of have to educate. They want a printer that does everything. There is no one printer that does everything. There's no one ink that does all applications.
Yep.
So, I mean, EcoSolvent comes close to being in terms of versatility, but I mean, there's not one printer that does every possible application, right? So
when that was one of the questions I had on here too, is, so say somebody has a printer now, right? And it may even be a newer one. When do you think it's time for them to look at adding things to their portfolio, right? So I'm not saying, we talked about somebody who, say they're running an EcoSolvent and that thing's running 24/7, right? Time to get another one, right? But say they're not running it 24/7 and they're like, hey, how do I want to do more and different stuff. How do they know when it's time to get something different than what they already have?
I mean, buy a new printer, you mean? Or?
Yeah, like a different one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of the
different technology.
Yeah, like the case in point. Maybe you have an EcoSolvent customer and they're doing signage and they want another leg on their table to create another business within their business. And the DTF is a great solution for that, right? It's a whole new universe. And we just talked about the applications a little while ago. I mean, that really, it's just, that could be a full-time business right there. So
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, we talked about this. I think
or UV printers for object printing, for printing, we talked about this last time, hey, maybe you're a sign shop and you have a customer that's retail and hey, you could do their shirts now. You could do name tags with our UV technology.
Yeah.
We even have entry level models of everything to get you started in the game. So if you want to dabble with it and try to develop, we have Versus Studio line where all of this technology is available for $10,000 or less, and you can dabble with it and grow your business. So
I like that little UV machine though too. I really like it.
Is all the Versus Studio products under 10,000?
The philosophy is we want to make it, I don't know if it'll always be this case, but we want it to be $10,000 or less, be on a desktop, and it's entry level. So you can dabble with the same technology. And of course, the Versa RIP is included in part of the deal with everything. So
and you can use that for your next level. That BD8, I think, Mike, is what you're talking about. Yeah. That's that small little UV.
The BD, it's a small flap
That is
desktop.
a slick little machine for someone that wants to kind of get started, doesn't have the high volumes, but still has the need for, specialized.
If you can see this, it can print this.
Yeah. So BD8, for those who don't know, is our Versa Studio benchtop UV flatbed printer.
Rick zooming in.
And you can print.
So if you're watching on, if you're
YouTube.
listening on audio, Rick just showed it on video.
You can print that. You can
go to
print
YouTube, I guess.
I think I have one more thing I can show them.
But we literally talked about this on the last episode with UV, right? We said, like, if you're doing signage, a lot of your customers are needing stuff that's UV printed, right? I mean, like for shows we just did, right? We needed these flash drives that say Wensco on them, right? That's UV print. You're printing onto the flash drives. But apparel's that same thing, right? Every customer that you're doing signage for needs apparel. They all use apparel, right? So if you don't have a way to do it now or a way to do it efficiently, 100% I'm saying.
Or you might want to just dabble with the BY20 and get started and then migrate to this higher speed solution after your business takes off. So that's a great thing about our product line. I mean, there's ways to enhance your business if you're part of our Roland Nation for very minimal cost.
Yeah, especially for under 10,000. That's funny. I didn't realize that all the Versus Studio. That's why I asked, because I was like,
that's the philosophy.
That's a great tagline.
Tyler,
like tabletops under 10,000.
You asked that question about kind of when is it time. I think also for customers, take a look at what you're outsourcing today. If you're outsourcing to another vendor for specific products, because then we can come in and we can help you do an ROI on how much printing you need to do and how much money it's going to save you and how you can grow with that. I've never seen a customer who bought a piece of equipment that had some business that didn't still thrive with it. Because once you take ownership of it and you promote it and you believe in it, you're going to take that thing to the next level.
I think there always seems to be room for the work that you don't realize you're turning away. And it may not even be you turning it away. It may be you just quoting it high or saying, hey, it's going to be 3-4 weeks, right? And you're not turning it away, but you're not getting the work.
I think subconsciously we often dismiss
100%
things.
Yes.
If we can't do it, we just dismiss it. Or if we entertain the idea of accommodating that customer, it could be a whole new business.
Yeah. And you don't realize, especially if you're a shop that has, like 5 or 6 employees, you're not even the one quoting the jobs anymore. You may not realize how much work is just walking out the door, right? If you're not asking or you're not tracking that stuff, it may just be a lot of people that are coming in and be like, hey, can you do one shirt, right? And for most people, if you don't have a solution for that, it's like,
get out of here.
No,
I don't have the time for this.
I'm not going to do one shirt. But if you start adding that up, right, where it's like, hey, can I get, 10 yard signs? Can I get 4 shirts? Can I get all of these small jobs? If you're saying yes to all of those and your job log keeps filling up because you're able to say yes, you may make a lot more money over the year. And I think if you're in the medium size shop or you have a few employees, you're not realizing how much work they're not able to do, or they're quoting out too far for people to actually take it on. So
Well
whether
put,
that's on
Tyler.
apparel, with the, I forgot the
TY,
Thank you.
as in Tyler, TY 300.
I should be able to remember
It's
it.
the Ty 300, and you can't even remember it.
That's funny. I'll put it in my email signature for you guys.
Isn't that the new ink
Get
too?
my
Is
new
the new?
printer.
Oh, it's TH. Is the new ink.
TH.
Yeah, TH.
Tyler
also.
Hall, Tristan Hall, Tater Hall.
That's for the XP640. That's the TH. Yeah.
Well, that's confusing. So you got a TY printer, but the TH ink goes in the XP640.
Yes.
Of course. I got to keep you on your toes.
No complaints here. Just an observation, I guess.
Any new food experiences we need to know about?
Oh, so
Oh,
you know, let's
By
just
the way,
talk.
that chili was really good.
let's just
we
talk
had for
about
lunch
today.
because I got
Those
heartburn.
chili dogs
You know it's good when you get heartburn.
So we took Joe to Chili Dog Place. He's from the east side of the state. We're from the west side of the
So
state.
as we
And he
know,
can't
Detroit,
he can't-
Coney Island dog is the big thing. If you're not, from the Midwest here,
So he can't say, "Yeah, you guys have good hot dogs over here," because he's from the east side.
that's
and
not the
they have
case.
the
I
greatest
said it was a
Coney
good
dogs.
dog. Like we talked about, my biggest pet peeve is when they have the hard casing with the soft meat inside the hot dog. I hate that.
That was not this place, by the way.
No, it was,
This place
it was perfect.
We've talked about this place before. My favorite place to eat, Mr. Burger.
I did. That's why I was going to ask where you
There were
went.
4 of us for $40 or something.
If that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super cheap.
And I got heartburn, so you know it's good.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. So,
We gonna wrap
that,
up?
That was pretty much all I had for this one. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I'll just sum it all up. We're coming out with a lot of new products. We're always innovating. So check out the TY300 DTF printer solution with our shaker dryer and internal exhaust system. And check out our new XP640 EcoSolvent high-speed printer, especially if you're part of the Roland Nation and had some of our older pro gear and we're waiting for a high-speed solution. Now's the time. You've been waiting and the wait is over. The XP640.
Do you think he always wanted to be on radio, Joe?
He should have been on
He should have been on radio. He should have been.
Mark, I just
he should
have a
been
passion
DJ.
for
He's a
Roland.
convincing
I
guy.
mean, I just have a passion because it's the true solution. We are the solution.
While Joe was talking, I was nodding my head, and for some reason, it just looked like I was signing a check down here. Shoot.
But if
I
you
already
did
bought
sign
one.
that check, you're going to make 10 times more money than you paid me.
Oh,
Whoa.
what a sales guy.
It's the truth. It's what the Roland Nation's all about, Tyler.
Well, Joe, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having
if
me
you guys liked having Mark on the episode,
We did.
buy some machines because otherwise we won't let him come back on. So
Buy some machines.
Yeah, his attendance based off sales.
yeah.
His attendance is completely based
Shoot,
off
we
sales.
we
So if you
sell a
don't see
few
him
of
for a
these
year,
things. You might see them in like 3 weeks. You're going to know we sold a bunch of printers. So
And if you come see me, I can wear the sport coat or not wear the sport coat. Not
Your
a problem.
option. Your option.
Your option.
listen, if he has the sport coat on, just get your checkbook out.
It's over.
You're not going to get away without buying it. So if you see him show up in a sport coat, get the checkbook out. It's a done deal.
he's going to an install. They already bought a new one, and they're out there like, all right, what now?
Yeah, I guess we're buying something else. They're locking the door. Honey, no, he's got his coat on.
He's coming. He's coming up the driveway. With a sport coat on.
Take it off.
Take your coat off and let you in.
But yeah, Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
Took us 50 episodes to have you on, so maybe we'll have you on at 100. And then,
I honestly think the funniest thing is we do this episode with this podcast right here. Mark's desk is the closest desk to this podcast studio. We can see him most of the time when we're doing this, and he's just sitting there pretending like he's working.
if you listen to episode 1, because we didn't know we were recording an episode, so the door was actually open the entire time we recorded, you can actually hear Mark in the background laugh when we mentioned the Franklin planner. So that's how close his desk is to this podcast studio. So that gives you an idea. So yeah, thanks for coming on. Hopefully you guys learned something. Joe, again, thanks for coming back.
My pleasure. Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode. So
All right.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye now.